CATAN Geographies, Germany. This is, I will say it right now, the only way I will play Catan ever. I'm not interested in playing regular Catan at all. I don't care how many expansions you add to it, not interested. This one, however, I will play, and I'll explain why in just a few moments. It is important to note right now that you cannot play CATAN Geographies Germany as a 2-player game. It is only a 3 or 4-player game. If you are playing with 3 players, the point of the game is to get 12 points. If you are playing with 4 players, the end game is triggered by 1 player reaching 10 points. Now, as with regular Catan, the game progresses by each player taking different turns. And on that player's turn, first thing he's going to do is roll the die. Now, those dice are going to determine what regions on the board produce resources that turn. So, for example, if the person rolled an 8, this province will generate a resource. This will generate 1 clay. That's ore, sheep or wool up there. Now, players will get resources if they have a town hall next to a province that produces a resource. So, orange here would get 1 clay for having rolled an 8. And if red had a city here, then they would also get a clay if an 8 is rolled, and so forth and so on. Then players on their turn, after they produce, they have the opportunity to trade, and then while trading, they can build different things in the game. If you want to build a road, you have to use a clay and a wood to do so. If you want to build a town hall, you have to use those 4 resources: a clay, a wood, a wheat, and a wool. Landmarks are 2 ore and 1 wheat, and then a development card at the bottom there is 1 ore, 1 wheat, and 1 wool in order to build. So during their trade and build phase, the players can build any or none of those things. You never have to build or trade, but it is advantageous more often than not to do so. On the back side of your building cost cheat sheet, there are these different starting positions and starting resources. This is different from regular Catan, where in regular Catan you would actually take turns placing your starting town halls on the board. This is one of the reasons I like CATAN Geographies Germany better than regular Catan, because this speeds the game up. You don't have to take time with people APing over whether they are going to be next to an 8 or a 6. You have starting locations here. So what you would do is shuffle these at the beginning of the game and simply deal out their starting locations. Very simple. So after the players have taken their starting positions and their starting resources, this is what the board would look like. Normally, the different resources are kept hidden, but I'm just showing you what starting resources each person got on their card. Now, in CATAN Geographies Germany, you actually don't start with any roads on the board. You have to build as you go. Now, some of you may be thinking that, well, you know what? I don't like how the board is static. It's not a modular board. It doesn't change. The numbers won't change. It'll always be the same, so there's less replayability with it. Well, you know what? That's one of the things that I really enjoy about CATAN Geographies Germany. I enjoy not having to randomly put out the different modular board pieces. I love not having to randomly put out the different numbers that are there. They're already there. I don't have to mess with them. It just speeds up the time that it takes to play CATAN Geographies Germany. Secondarily, you do not have to start with these starting positions. You can, as in a regular game of Catan, kind of draft, if you want to use that word, where each player starts by going in turn and placing one of your 3 town halls on the board on the intersection of your choice. You can do that. You do not have to use the starting positions, but I've done so today just to show you that there is that nuance of this version of Catan. So let's say that orange player is the start player. They will take the dice and roll them, and that is an 11. So we look on the board, and any 11s would produce at this point. Well, we have red over here gets an 11, so they have a wheat that they would add to their stockpile. And orange up here also has a wheat added to their stockpile. Now, orange has the ability to begin trading. Now, it's important to note that the person who has the trading is the only person that can be traded with. So the person who is the active player can initiate trades and receive trades, but other players cannot trade between themselves. You would say something to the effect of, well, I would like to trade a wheat for a wood. And red says, well, okay, I'll do that. So they would trade a wheat for his wood, and then orange player now has the ability to use those resources. So he'll say, I'm going to build a road, and I have to use a clay and a wood to do that. So then I'll take one of my roads, and right here I'd just like to pause and show you the roads and the townhouses, because these are actually really cool models. You'll see that the townhouse has that Germanic look to it, so to speak. And then the roads are little rocky bridges almost. And they're all sturdy plastic, so another plus for me. I spent my wood and my clay, and I'm going to build a road. Now, roads can be built from any one of your townhouses, or once you have already built a road, you can build off the end of your roads. I'm going to build up here in Hamburg, off of Hamburg. Now, reason I would want to do that is because I can either head to Bremen later or down to Hanover. Bremen, I would be able to build a landmark, and then in Hanover I would be able to build another town hall. So that's where I'm kind of headed. So it goes to the red player. They would take and roll the dice, and 8 is rolled. So any province that has 8 on it would produce a resource. So red and white both get an ore. So those are the only 2 that produce. And now red has the opportunity to produce a resource. So he has an ore, a wheat, and a wool. He's going to use that to purchase a development card. So he uses those resources. Notice that he forgoed trading, or forewent. I don't know. You guys can let me know which one's right. And you don't have to trade on your turn. You don't have to build anything on your turn. So he built a development card. Now, development cards are a number of different things. They are simple cards that allow you to break certain rules in the game. You can trade with the bank to have 3 resources traded in to get one of your of your choice. Unless you have this card. This card allows you to trade 2 resources for 1. So that's something. Banking allows you to take 2 resources of your 2 resource cards of your choice from the supply. There's another trade card. Road building allows you to build 2 roads at no cost, as if you had just built them. Now the mercenary actually lets you take the robber, that's what that name there is, and place it in a new terrain hex. Then steal 1 random resource card from a player in a town hall adjacent to his hex. So basically, if you ever roll a 7, this is something that I have not yet gone over. If you roll a 7, the robber moves, and you can take him and place him in any region, and any person that is adjacent to that region, you can steal 1 card from. And then additionally, if you have 8 or more cards, you have to lose half of them, because it is a down year, so to speak. If you play a mercenary card, it allows you to carry out that effect. There are also cards that simply award you 1 victory point. So red here has purchased a development card. It is important to note now that development cards cannot be played on the turn that they were purchased, but on any following turn after that. So now there is nothing else that red can do, so now it's white's turn. White would take, and they have rolled an 11. So that is the magical number for orange and red. They both get a wheat. He'll offer up his brick for wheat. let's just say that since orange already has the red out there, he'll trade with has the road out there. He'll trade with red instead, and then he'll use these 3 resources to purchase a development card. And he places that face down so people can't see what it is. And that's how the game would progress, producing resources by rolling the dice, using those resources to build different things throughout the board, and so forth and so on. Now, I do want to go over some of the nuances of the game so that you understand those. Let's say, for example, on a future turn, orange wants to build another road off of their previously built road. They would be able to do so like this. Now, let's say they wanted to build 2 roads. All right, so they could place one here, but they would not be able to go past that landmark until it is built. So this would be an illegal placement. Okay, what would first have to happen is he would have to spend the 2 ore and a wheat to build the landmark, and then he could place that second road there. All right, now if he didn't have the resources to build this landmark yet, he could go down here, or he could go this way and build 2 roads like so. Because this is an open intersection, it doesn't have a city or a landmark in there, so it's free to build through that intersection, no problems. But if you come to an intersection that has a city or a landmark diagram, in order to build past that, the city or the town hall or the landmark has to be built first. Now, another thing about landmarks that you need to understand is that if he were to have the correct resources to be able to build 2 roads and this guy, he would be able to do that right there. But you'll see that there are little pictures beside the different landmarks that are available, and these are rewards that you get for building that landmark. So when he built that landmark, he would immediately be able to place a road anywhere that is a legal placement. So he paid for these 2 a 3rd road that he could place wherever would be a legal placement. Maybe he would want to do this to come down to build Osnabrück, or continue going this way to try to maybe go to Schreinerin, or maybe he wants to go down to Hanover. Whatever, he could place this wherever he liked. So these are rewards that you get for purchasing and building those different landmarks, which is another thing that I think is pretty cool about this version of CATAN Germany. A couple of final things about the game that I really think makes it worth a purchase are, first of all, the landmark models. They are, again, not perfect, but they are very pleasing. And they definitely denote the landmarks for which they represent. So these are very nice models. This is one of the purchasing points for me. Another thing that I like about the game is that it is very simple to tell who has how many points at any given point in time. And the reason that is because you simply count the number of town halls that they have on the board. Now, keeping in mind that some of those development cards are points as well. So someone can, for example, in a 4-player game, get 9 town halls out on the board and then flip over on their turn a development card that they purchased on a previous turn and say, I've got 10 points, I win. But you can get a general idea of where everybody is simply by looking at the board. For example, right here, you see that orange has 4 points, red has 3, and white has 3. And that is CATAN Geographies Germany. My favorite, my only way to play CATAN. The reason that I will only play CATAN this way is because while I play CATAN this way and only this way, this is still just CATAN. There isn't really anything else that's there, mechanically speaking. You're still doing the same things, collecting resources, using those resources to build certain things. So there's nothing new per se, but at the same time, there is an elegance to this game that regular Catan simply lacks. And I enjoyed the board and the aesthetic appeal that it has, and I enjoyed thinking back to all of the different places that I visited in Germany and all of these different landmarks that I've actually been to and been able to witness in person. And that's the appeal that the game had to me. I enjoyed the camaraderie of the different people, but at the same time, boy, Catan, I get it. I get it. There's people out there that love Catan, and it's a huge gateway game. I get it. I do. But man, is it boring. One of our players in the game that we had last night literally went 5 or 6 turns where he did not get a thing because the ways that he was rolling, the ways that other people were rolling, the numbers that were coming up just didn't produce anything for him. And I know that's an incredibly bad stroke of luck, but that happens. This is a game that I enjoy because of all of the history that's packed into this. The board there has a whole bunch of history packed into it because the different regions and the different resources that those regions produce are all based on historical agricultural fact from Germany's history. Those regions are known historically for producing that kind of resource. The different landmarks that are there, that has history. The almanac that comes in this, not really a buying point, I understand that, but there's an almanac in here that explains all of these things. And so even the robber is a poetical figure from Germany's past. So again, this game is a variation of Catan. That is all it is. But it is the most elegant, it is the most beautiful implementation of the Catan system that I have ever played. If you ever see it in a store, at least give it a second thought in picking it up. Because if you enjoy Catan even just slightly, you'll get a real kick out of this game. All right, so that is CATAN Geographies Germany. 2 thumbs way up. Here's my whatever number out of 10 rating. And there you have it. See you on the flip side, folks.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.